Then not only did she push her forward, she had her hand on the ball, and then she rakes back. Look at that. Bam! Right on the eyes, scraping back.
But perhaps the most disturbing was what happened to Caitlin Clark, the league's brightest rising star. During a recent game, Carrington swiped directly at Clark's eye while she was bringing the ball up the court.
Her and DiJonai Carrington, they act like they ain't got no media training. They act like they ain't got no home training sometimes.
Back in 2023, Carrington was fined after a heated incident with Sabally. The tension spilled over onto Twitter, where Carrington tagged her in a tweet trying to downplay it. Sabally didn't bite. And ever since, the tension's been simmering.
Getting her feet set, Carrington with the shoulder shake, and non-ball pressure, how tenacious she is. Throws a hand there, got the space.
Across the basketball world, the calls are growing louder. Fans, commentators, and former players are united in one message: this can't continue. The idea that a role player like Carrington can repeatedly cross the line, grabbing hair, swiping eyes, undercutting opponents without facing real consequences has become a public relations disaster, and the stakes couldn't be higher, because this isn't just about enforcing rules anymore. It's about protecting the league's biggest stars, starting with Caitlin Clark. DiJonai Carrington just attacked Satou Sabally after the final buzzer, not during the game, not in a heated moment of competition. No, this was different. This was personal. Carrington waited until the game ended, then made a beeline toward Sabally, sparking chaos on the court. Cameras captured teammates stepping in to stop it from turning into a full-blown fight. The crowd stunned, commentators speechless.
Lads, the DiJonai Carrington and Satou Sabally beef lives on.
So here we are. Clark is out. The numbers are dropping. The receipts are stacked. And Stephen A. is watching it all unfold like he predicted it from day one. The only question now is, will the WNBA learn from this? Or will Caitlin Clark walk away the moment she realizes she was never truly appreciated? Because one thing's for sure, Stephen A. isn't going to stop reminding them until they do.
What are you doing, buddy? We got this play against Ariel Atkins, a clean play, but DiJonai Carrington just loves doing the whole, I'm going to reach back as far as I can and swat at you. I mean, dirtbag. Are you desperate for a big play, or are you just, you guys get the point. We got the Skylar Diggins, the volleyball spike. I mean, come on. And then we have our most recent hair pull. Look at that, guys. Come on. In what world is this acceptable? Dirtbag DiJonai is going to get somebody hurt.
And that silence has become its own scandal, because if the league won't even protect Caitlin Clark, the player driving record TV ratings and bringing new fans to the sport, what message does that send? Already, posts across Twitter, Reddit, and YouTube are asking the same thing. Is this the example you want for young girls watching the WNBA? How can the league claim to stand for no room for hate when this conduct is allowed to continue? And most damning of all, is player safety just a talking point, or does it actually matter?
Mirror, mirror on the wall, DiJonai Carrington, you are the dirtiest dirtbag of them all. Dirty play, DiJonai Carrington.
This is a pattern, and this time, she may have crossed the line for good. Carrington's history isn't subtle. She's been building this reputation brick by brick, game after game. Flagrant fouls, cheap shots, eye rakes. She once yanked an opposing player down by the hair in a moment that had fans questioning how she avoided suspension. And her beef with Sabally? It didn't start here.
And the reason why is because, let me tell you something right now. I'm not going to go to word hate. I'm not going to be out there like RG3 was saying that Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark or other players hate Caitlin Clark. But I will say this. I don't think it's specific.
She is special, he shouted. She turned this league into must-see TV, and instead of protecting her, y'all let her get hacked, slammed, and assaulted every night with no consequences.
I don't care about her leading the league in assists. I don't care about the points that she's averaging, because I already know that the young lady can ball.
The viewership, right? The viewership is going to plummet. I already know. because majority of the people that's watching Indiana Fever wants to see Caitlin Clark. And sad to say it, a lot of them only want to see Caitlin Clark. They don't really care about the entire team.
And what did Stephen A. do? He turned the pressure dial all the way up. He didn't just go after Reese, he scorched the entire system. He slammed Commissioner Kathy Engelbert for downplaying Clark's importance. He mocked the media for pretending the WNBA's rise was some collective team effort. She was the solution, and every moment the league spent undermining her, every shoulder check, every snub, every dismissive comment only confirmed what Stephen A. knew all along, that without her, the WNBA is not ready for prime time. And the most ironic part, Stephen A. wasn't even gloating. He was pleading for the league to get it right, to protect its star, to ride the wave instead of swimming against it. Because this isn't just about one season. This is about whether the WNBA can finally grow up and realize what it has. And here's where things get even more brutal. This isn't just about respect. It's about survival. Because while Reese may have a fan base, Clark has become the economy, the ticket sales, the merchandise, the TV deals. She's not just a player, she's the platform. And with her off the court, the league's flaws are suddenly impossible to hide. That's why Stephen A. snapped, because he saw this coming, because he warned them, because for months he's watched WNBA insiders undermine the only player who could change their future. And now that she's out, they're all watching the floor collapse. The WNBA has to decide what kind of league it wants to be. A respected global brand, or a chaotic sideshow where fights trend more than highlights. Carrington doesn't need another slap on the wrist. She needs to be held accountable. Suspensions, fines that matter, statements that mean something, and most of all, a commissioner who leads like the future depends on it, because it does. Carrington can't be allowed to hijack the league for her own brand, not when it risks pushing out the very players like Sabally, Buckers, and Clark, who are finally bringing women's basketball into the mainstream.
DiJonai, folks, somebody built a little nice complication. Salute to you, anti of dirtbag DiJonai and all of her glory. Look, we got this. We got the Jessica Shepard eye rake heard across the world. Or, folks, I cringe when I see these plays. I cringe when I see these plays. We got DiJonai Carrington not having any body control at all, falling all over the floor, scratching the t-shirt. Look at her. She's scratching all over me, ref. She's scratching all over me. She's digging her nails into my arm, referee.
Clark has already been targeted once. If something worse happens to her on the court because of the league's inaction, the fallout will be catastrophic. Not just for the WNBA's reputation, but for its future growth. That's why many are now calling for a season-long suspension, or even a permanent ban for Carrington. Harsh? Maybe. But when player safety is on the line, harsh action is sometimes necessary. The WNBA says it stands for fair play, professionalism, and no tolerance for hate or violence. Yet the silence around Carrington's repeated offenses tells a very different story.
And it was Carrington, as you mentioned, who wasn't even on Dallas's team last year, and Sabally.
Video footage shows Carrington approaching Sabally from behind, teammates stepping in as tension explodes. Sabally looks confused. Carrington looks furious. Security? Nowhere to be found. It's like the referees just clocked out for the night. This wasn't just unsportsmanlike, it was dangerous. And it wasn't the first time, because DiJonai Carrington has made headlines before, not for buzzer beaters or game winners, but for hair pulling, hacking, trash talking, and taunting opponents with reckless abandon. Not to shake hands, not to congratulate, to confront.
Well, she'll be joined by Kate Longworth in just a few moments, and tell you what, man, they're still kind of talking back and forth. And there's some serious drama going down here after this ball game ended.
Well, I'm surprised security is not out there a little bit more.
No kidding.
Between the players, they're letting them talk and just walk them off.
You know, I think if anything else, this sets the table for the next matchup, which will be July 3rd. The 3 more times these two teams will meet throughout the rest of the regular season.
Nice. Yank. Woo. Woo. And then DiJonai Carrington has the audacity to sit there on the floor acting as if she did nothing wrong.
But that was only the latest in a growing list of dangerous plays. Let's rewind. Earlier this season, Carrington delivered a reckless hit on her own teammate, Paige Beakers, leaving coaches and fans breathless. Then came a cheap shot on Jessica Shepard, borderline flagrant, again going unpunished.
Throwing it to Jessica, right?
The footage is crystal clear. Frame by frame, you can see Carrington's fingers break across Clark's face. Clark instantly winced, grabbing her eye in visible pain. Carrington later tried to downplay the moment as an accident. But the replays tell a very different story. And the fact that it happened to Caitlin Clark, the player drawing millions of new fans to the WNBA, made it even worse. But it doesn't end there. In her last 5 games alone, Carrington has swiped Caitlin Clark's eye, undercut Skylar Diggins midair, delivered multiple hits to opponents' heads, committed a dangerous hair pull, now viral worldwide. And if the WNBA keeps pretending otherwise, they'll end up right back where they started, begging for airtime and hoping someone still cares. But the damage isn't just financial, it's cultural. The league had a chance to unite behind a generational talent, to turn a rivalry into a celebration of the sport, to uplift all players through the wave Clark created. Instead, too many chose ego over evolution. Too many chose to compete against the spotlight instead of with it. And now, the fans see it, the sponsors see it, the media sees it, and Stephen A. Smith. He's just the only one brave enough to say it out loud. Caitlin Clark was never the problem. This was never just about trash talk. It was never just about one tweet, one hard foul, or one post-game comment. This is about how the WNBA handles power. Caitlin Clark became the biggest name in women's basketball. And instead of celebrating her, the league tried to downplay her. Instead of protecting her, they let her become a target. Now, that decision is costing them everything. Clark's absence isn't just a 2-week injury, it's a 2-week free fall. Ticket prices slashed in half. Primetime games losing momentum. Entire arenas with empty rows because fans aren't showing up for women's basketball. They're showing up for Caitlin Clark. Now it's boiled over and in front of the entire world. Here's where things get even more disturbing. Carrington isn't just aggressive. According to analysts, she's strategic, a selective bully. She only targets players she thinks she can intimidate. She doesn't go after 6'4" league veterans. She doesn't swing at Aja Wilson or Brittany Griner. No, she picks rookies, younger players, anyone under 6 feet, opponents who are less likely to swing back or make a scene. It's not random, it's calculated. Carrington is using the league as her personal chaos stage, stealing spotlight from her teammates and forcing the camera to stay on her, even when others deserve it. Stephen A. Smith just lost it on national television, and Angel Reese was the reason why. After yet another stunt aimed at Caitlin Clark, Stephen A. didn't just criticize her, he torched the entire league.
I'm not going to ignore, nor am I going to take my eyes off of what transpires with the WNBA over the next 2 weeks while Caitlin Clark is out with the quad strain. And the reason why is because, let me tell you something right now. I'm not going to go to word hate. I'm not going to be out there like RG3 was saying that Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark or other players hate Caitlin Clark. But I will say this. I don't think it's specific about Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark, arguably the biggest name the league has ever had, now has to watch this chaos unfold and ask herself, is this the league I want to be a part of? Because, let's be honest, Caitlin Clark didn't sign up to be blindsided after buzzer beaters. She didn't join the WNBA to become a punching bag in someone else's ego war. And if things don't change, she won't be the only star eyeing Europe. Players have worked for decades to get women's basketball to this point. But one unchecked ego, one commissioner's refusal to act, and one more violent post-game moment might be all it takes to send it crashing back down. This isn't about drama anymore, it's about direction.
You're so dangerous. Satou!
Only there are no staged outcomes here, and real players are being put at real risk. So what exactly happened, and how did it reach this breaking point? Stay tuned, because what you're about to see could spark the biggest player ban in modern WNBA history.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Clark, guard for the Indiana Fever.
Gets bumped, will take, and hit from 3.
It all started building quietly. DiJonai Carrington has long been known for her tough defense, but recently the conversation has shifted. Because this is no longer about playing hard, it's about playing dirty. So what do you think? Is Carrington out of control, or is the league failing to stop her? Should the WNBA step in before it's too late? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more hard-hitting WNBA coverage.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, DiJonai Carrington, you are the dirtiest dirtbag of them all. Dirty play, DiJonai Carrington.
DiJonai Carrington's shocking hair pull attack is the moment that could finally end her WNBA career.
Friends might be one of the vicious assaults, I'm gonna call it, DiJonai Carrington might have done on any player. Worse than the eye poke, I feel like this one right here was.
She is special.
That's what made this different. This wasn't just jealousy, it was negligence.
And so now that we know all of this, and we've known that for months, now we get to turn around and look and see what exactly is it that the league will do knowing that she's out for the next 2 weeks. I'm not saying I know for sure what's going to happen, but I have an idea.
Stephen A. accused the league of standing by while its biggest asset was targeted, fouled, and eventually injured. And now that she's sidelined, the very people who resented her success are seeing just how bad the league looks without her.
Check this out right here. Let me know if I'm tripping. Even the announcer had to go, whoa, bro. He was just stunned. Let's watch it again. Watch it again. This is ridiculous. Look at this. Whoa. Come on, bro. You can't justify that. You can't justify that. Look at that. That's nasty work, bro. I'm going to just keep it real. That nasty, nasty work there, man.
Commentators were stunned. Fans were furious. And the clip exploded online with captions asking the obvious. How is this not an ejection?
So DiJonai Carrington, being the dirtbag that she is, she decides to grab a ponytail's worth of Sarah Ashley Parker's hair.
See, Stephen A. wasn't just mad about the shots at Clark. He was furious that Reese and others are still acting like Clark's success came at their expense, that somehow the attention Clark gets is a personal insult. But here's the truth. There was no attention until Clark brought it. That's why Stephen A. snapped, because this wasn't a petty feud anymore. It was a full-blown identity crisis for the league. And while players like Reese continue the back and forth, Clark's silence, her decision to focus on playing, performing, and lifting the league, has spoken louder than anything else. Stephen A. laid it out with ruthless clarity. You can't build a castle and then act surprised when the queen moves in. The message was loud and clear. Clark isn't just good, she's essential. Either get on board or get left behind.
Because if for some reason there is a precipitous drop-off, then everybody needs to stand down and recognize the fact that the speculation or the assertions and assumptions about her being the golden goose is validated. And if that happens, then you know what, you ride that wave. Rising tide lifts all boats. And if this is the magnetic traction that draws viewers to the WNBA, and her absence over the next 2 weeks due to that quad strain is providing further evidence of that, then everybody needs to accept it, stand down, and ride that wave. I'm going to be really interested in seeing how the ratings are going to look without her over the next 2 weeks. Let's make sure we come back and ask me this exact same question after she's been gone for those 2 weeks.
All right, so pay attention to this. Now, in this angle, you see Paige already making a pretty good defensive play right here. She has a hand on the ball. She's good to go. That's a good defensive play. But then you have DiJonai coming from behind with force. All right, this is a reckless chase down. Pushes Shepard and Paige forward, right? Gets the block. Now look at Paige Becker's leg. All right, this is why this is dangerous. This isn't basketball right here, man. This is unhinged, upset, frustrated play. That's what this is. All right, that's exactly what this is. Paige's legs are completely from under her. So she's falling straight to her back after you done came in and pushed both of them forward, right?
Stephen A. accused the league of standing by while its biggest asset was targeted, fouled, and eventually injured. And now that she's sidelined, The very people who resented her success are seeing just how bad the league looks without her. Because while Reese may have a fan base, Clark has become the economy. And with her off the court, the league's flaws are suddenly impossible to hide. Caitlin Clark became the biggest name in women's basketball. And instead of celebrating her, the league tried to downplay her. Stephen A. laid it out with ruthless clarity. You can't build a castle and then act surprised when the queen moves in. The message was loud and clear. Clark isn't just good, she's essential. And if the WNBA keeps pretending otherwise, they'll end up right back where they started, begging for airtime and hoping someone still cares. She was the solution. The only question now is, will the WNBA learn from this?